Okay. You know, the wall over there sure looks better without senators on it. Goodness. Okay. We will set a supplemental calendar, maybe our first of a couple. I'm sorry I'm about a minute late to this meeting. Using my watch, so it doesn't matter. Okay, we will have several bills presented. We're going to start off with some rule substitutes, and I'm going to call on who's going to, the rule substitutes who will present. So it's not going to be all of them because there's about 30 out there. So I'm going to call on a select few, let them present their bill, and then we'll proceed. Oh. Have y'all gotten these? Okay. Okay, before we get started, each one of y'all will get a little box like this, and it's from me. I want to tell you how much I appreciate you. So, I have to be reminded of things, folks. Okay, Mr. Burns, I think you have a rule substitute for SR 135. It's LC number 4324448S. Was that the one?
That's the one, Mr. Chairman. I know that's been a popular number that we've talked a good bit about here in this committee. So, colleagues, if you'll bear with me, I'll give you the language in the substitute. But first, I'll tell you it has absolutely nothing to do with gaming or gambling or casinos, to my dear friend Ron Stevens. Well, farming sometimes is gambling. You're right, Mr. Whip. So what can I say? But this bill brings the language back of Chairman Watson's that we passed in the House, H.R. 686, 166-0. Again, there's no gambling or wagering whatsoever as a part of this bill, this language. This bill does simply does a couple of things. It reduces the harvest tax on harvested timber from 100% to 40%. It's the same percentage that you use on all other values in the assessment process. It treats timber like any other real property, again bringing uniformity to the process. And I'll also mention there's no other agricultural commodity that pays a harvest tax. The counties and the local municipalities, school districts will be made whole on any revenue loss on this bill. They'll get 98.5%, almost 100% of any reduction in the local ad valorem taxes that the county would lose. And as I mentioned, there's absolutely nothing in this bill, this substitute, that has anything to do with gambling or wagering. So we would hope for your favorable consideration, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so you said we got 160 votes last time?
166. We needed 120, and we got 166. So we would hope and pray that we'd get that same again. It did fell into the finance, as some things do over in the Senate. They got into the finance committee over there and didn't move forward. But it is a good piece of legislation. Will help our timber industry in this state, the #1 timber state in the United States, Georgia. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so we have rule substitute for SR 135, LC number 4324448S. Do I hear a move? Move. Got a move and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. It passed. Okay. Representative Stevens, I think you have SB 142 LC 365346S.
Chairman, this bill has stripped out everything except online sports betting. That is what you do with your mobile device. All the rest of the stuff remains. It will have the licenses in there for tier ones at $1 million apiece. It'll generate some money for sports, for gaming addiction and all the previous addictions, but this is only for sports betting, mobile sports betting. Everything else has been stripped out.
Okay, so there's no casinos, no pari-mutuel betting, or just online betting like for the college basketball games that everybody and his brother bet on?
The same one I'm betting on tonight. Unfortunately, we won't be collecting any money from the state of Georgia, but this is lottery money.
All goes to the lottery?
Yes, sir.
How is it distributed?
It goes 25% to pre-K, 25% to the Hope Scholarship, and 50% to the Opportunity Fund, which is education money
Okay.
for Hope.
Have any questions? Speaker Pro Tem.
Yes, thank you. I don't have a copy of it. Maybe it's been distributed, but I don't think I have one. Has so 25% would go to Hope Scholarship and Hope Grant for technical colleges?
Yes.
25% for pre-K, and the 50% for the Opportunity Fund is a needs-based grant. I mean, I assume it's not a scholarship. Is it merit-based as well, or is it just a grant?
It is a grant. It is not merit-based. It is for anyone that is in the 50th percentile of income, that's $58,000 or below, to be used for Hope Pre-K or Hope Scholarship.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Martin.
Thank you. Chairman Stevens, could you direct me to the area of the bill where it says, where that is said, is divided out? And then while doing that, the question I have is the follow-up to the pro tem. So the needs-based, as we're referring to it, means tested, if you will. Aid does not have any merit component, so if it's oversubscribed, it would not go. If two students find themselves in the same situation in a means-tested way, the student with a higher academic achievement would not get priority.
This is for and the example that I used before is the foster child that has done his B average, but it is not a merit-based, it is a means-based. So yeah, if a person has a 2.0 average and he can get into the school, this helps him with gap funding, the difference in tuition cost and the difference in what tuition pays.
Okay, and if the gentleman would just point me to the section that has that, I'll follow up with him later.
I'm trying to, 342? 42. Yes, page 42, if you'll start on 1054. Yeah, actually.
To follow up,
I'm sorry, if you'll move on line 1066.
To follow up then, you're referring to specific portions in the Constitution, and I suspect those are the paragraph 2, if my memory serves, on line 1067 is pre-K. Paragraph 1, I think, is the scholarships. And is it not true that in the Constitution, Hope money can't be spent on anything until paragraphs 1, 2, and 3 are met? So regardless of what we say in statute, if Hope were to drop below, the reserves were dropped below, the Constitution would prevail. So we do have that guardrail in. Isn't that true?
You're exactly right. Thank you.
I have a
Speaker Pro Tem.
I have a follow-up. Actually, if you turn to page 62 and page 63, it details out a bit more about the means-tested grant.
Okay. Chairlady Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just have a question. Is this going to be things like the little old lady next door that plays something on her phone? Or is it going to be like football player, fantasy football or whatever? Is that included? And how do they know you're playing and doing this?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part.
how are you going to know when somebody is having one of these little fantasy sports games? Do you have to register and give your social security number? How is this all going to be tracked?
You don't get your social security number, but like the other 33 states that do this, you do have a register. They have to guarantee that you are 21 or over, and they cannot use a charge account. Everything, unlike the ones that are overseas, can run up a debt. This is strictly a cash deal, and it's an app on your phone. I've got it on mine. And it'll be essentially the same people that are contracting with the state. The state will take 20% of every bet that you make, and it goes to fund Hope and Pre-K and Opportunity Fund. Education, all education.
It's what you bet or what you win?
It's what you bet. 20% of the adjusted gross income of what you bet.
Okay, and does it include fantasy sports, fantasy football?
Fantasies are not in this bill.
Okay, thank you.
That's essentially not sports betting.
Mr. Knight.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To my friend, question around lines 1570, 1572. This is in regards to the Hope Opportunity Grants. In other words, what I'm reading, there's 180 quarter hours or 127 semester hours of attempted coursework. My specific question is, I know in the Hope Scholarship, we know that there must be certain levels met to keep that scholarship. Is there anything in here in regards to certain grade levels to keep the Hope Opportunity Grant?
There's nothing in there. This has to do, the Opportunity Fund is for those folks that fall below the mean income. All the other requirements for the Hope would still have to be maintained. Again, this is for that, I call it the gap money between the tuition charged and the tuition paid, but all the same grade level requirements, everything else is going to remain the same for the education.
Is that it, Chairman Knight? Yes, sir. Okay, thanks, sir. All right. I don't see any more questions. Thank you, sir. All right. We're going to take a vote on this we're just going to vote to either pass it or not to put it on the floor, just like we did the first one. Senate Bill 142, LC 365346S. Do I hear a move? Got a move and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. You want to count? Raise your right hand in favor. In favor.
In favor.
In favor of. Okay, all opposed, like sign. It fails. All right, next rule substitute. Okay, next rule substitute. Senate Bill 352, LC number 365338S. Chairman Martin.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. This is the same bill that came out of regulated industries. There's one word change, and that is on line 46. Well, let me say this. The bill changed a good deal because we spread the firefighters from the military personnel. The military personnel get expedited licenses by endorsement. And what we had done in the bill as it came out of Chairman Powell's committee is we were doing the same for law enforcement officers. There was some concern that we were using the word expedited, putting too many folks in front of other Georgians. So what this does is it breaks that out so that these professions can get licensure by endorsement. You'll see that on line 46 of the bill. It doesn't, I'm sorry, let me get back here. Yes, on line 48 of the bill, licensed by endorsement, and the word expedited is no longer in that in that language. So this will allow them to start from their profession if they've practiced in other states and they move in with their spouse that's a firefighter, a police officer, or a public safety official, but it takes the word expedited out.
Chair Lady Cooper.
What if their standards in the other state are not the same standards in our state, that they're less?
I'm going to, Chair Lady, I'm going to assume that the gentleman's committee vetted that. Again, we didn't change the policy that was created in regulated industries. We just simply took the word expedited out. So if the chair would allow, I'd allow Chairman Powell to explain where they went to on the bill.
All right, Chairman Powell. Look like you just got thrown under the bus. Go ahead.
But let me back up since I did. I don't believe this changes anything relative to what they have to do. It's just they can start. They don't have to start from ground zero. Chairman Powell, I believe, can affirm that.
Those words are two very different words in licensure, in the licensure world.
Mr. Powell.
Well, since the nature of this bill has changed since it left the committee, they've added healthcare providers and such, but what we attempted to do was to allow or to create a situation where it could be licensed by endorsements with those boards of the various professions.
Okay, remember, whenever y'all talk and speak directly into the mic because we can't hear you.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. If I could make clear to Chairman Powell, we did not add or take away anybody that this bill applied to in this change. We simply took away the word expedited in front of endorsed, in front of licensure. So when it came out of Chairman Powell's bill, that language is still intact. It simply took the word expedited out.
Just one word removal.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Representative Hughley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can you tell me how much time this is going to save an applicant by, if we do this, what's going to be the difference in terms of time for them to get a license?
Yes, go ahead.
To the representative, I can't say that specifically. What I can say is what I've heard in previous bills in Chairman Powell's committee as a member is allowing the expedited licensure for spouses of military allows them to be treated quickly and through endorsement, as Madam Chair of the Health and Human Services Committee said. I couldn't give the lady a direct answer as to how much faster, but this provides a way in and an opportunity for spouses of firefighters and public safety officers, which we wish to attract to Georgia, a shorter runway. I can't tell the lady what that runway would look like.
Chairman Knight.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and maybe just a point of clarification, and I'm trying to read page 3, make sure I'm reading this right, but I'm concerned in regards to maybe like healthcare provider. Is this a situation where they have to pass Georgia standards and meet Georgia licensure standards, or is it not the case? In other words, where they could be endorsed? And I apologize for the question, but maybe a clarification from author of the bill would be helpful.
Okay. Any other questions for the gentleman? All right, don't hear any. Let's see. Rule substitute 352. Senate Bill 352, LC number 365338S. Do I hear a move? Move. Got a move and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Oh, okay. It passed. All right. Okay, rule substitute 359, LC 442123S. Chair Lady Ballinger.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the opportunity. I believe Representative Fleming is going to speak to the first part. I will go ahead and fill you in on the part relating to me. Basically, this puts back in a bonus with regards to the alternative courts and the juvenile courts. It puts that back into statute, and it also removes the cap and allows for the locals to control how much they pay their judges. And for the other part, I'll hand it over to Representative Fleming.
Chairman Fleming.
Mr. Chairman, those were the only two changes to the rule substitute that Chairwoman Ballinger mentioned.
Okay, so it's,
The rest of the line bill is the same.
okay, rest of the bill is the same. Okay. Do I hear a move? Move. Got a move and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. It passed. That was Senate Bill 359 LC 442123S. Okay, next rule substitute. Senate Bill 456 LC 339167S. Chairman Setzler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the version of 456 that passed out of Sharon Cooper's committee last week, word for word, and added to it, again, in furtherance of in-person access to care, is the core that we passed last year of the right to have, patient's right to have a family member at bedside for 1 hour a day.
Okay. Hopefully y'all have had a chance to read that thoroughly. Okay. All right. All right, I hear a move on 456 LC 339167S. I hear a move.
Move.
Got a move and some. Yes, ma'am, Ms. Dempsey.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I know our lights were on the same time. So this is the first I've seen it. I was carrying the bill as of this morning. It was a completely different bill with a different, I mean, there's a lot that's been changed in it, including the name of the act in the first part. And I just had some questions about it. I don't think the senator or I were talked to about the changes, and just want to make sure that's understood. Doing that may completely take away from the underlying bill that came over here from the Senate.
Appreciate the lady's question. The senator is aware of this, and the only thing that changed, again, is this title, In-Person Access to Care Act, because, again, the title being unifying having access to face-to-face access to a doctor and face-to-face access to a patient representative. That's the only thing that changed about that piece. And again, this House overwhelmingly sent this access to this right to visit language out of the House last year. It's just a pared down, skinny down version that eliminated some of the redundant language in that.
Chair Lady Dempsey.
Yeah, I would think that the author of the bill would have let me know, and there's a lot of messages going out to him right now to find out if he knows about this. It does not sound like there was any awareness of this happening. So, you know, while they may be similar in some scope, we are dealing with a very important issue, much more focused on maternal health than on patient visitation, and I really think it will kill it.
Okay. Mr. Benton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To the author, is the part that's been added, is that language some of the same language that the providers had a problem with last year?
This is the language, the word-for-word language that passed in HB 290 last year out of the House, with a long-term care piece, which created sort of a multi-tier system. All that's taken out. This is the core language that we passed out of the House with respect to the 1 hour visitation.
Well, that you didn't answer. Are the providers, how are they on this? The hospitals and nursing homes, how are they on this?
I think we were all very clear last year. I can't speak for
Okay, can I interfere a second? Since we have so many questions about this particular bill, I'll hold it until I give you all a chance to talk about it, so we can answer a lot of these questions. Okay. So Senate Bill 456, LC 339167S is on hold until the questions have been answered, because I'm sure we'll be back. It's just not even 4 o'clock yet. Okay. We got 8 more hours. What y'all worried about? Okay. Let's set the calendar for the next supplemental calendar. Y'all listen and get your pens ready, because we need to be on the House floor voting on these. HR 629, it's on. HR 798, it's on. HR 1024, it's on. HR 1149, it's on. HR 881, it's on. HR 894, it's on. HR 1050, it's on. SR 477, it's on. SR 135, it's on. Under modified structure, those are under modified open. Under modified structure, SB 52, it's on. SB 89, it's on. SB 142, it's on. Oh, excuse me, 142 failed. That's right. It's off. So SB 142 will not be on the calendar on the floor today until maybe next time. I don't know. Senate Bill 200, it's on. Senate Bill 338, it's on. Senate Bill 352, it's on. Senate Bill 359, it's on. Senate Bill 381, it's on. Okay, let's run through those again. Under modified open, HR 629, 798, 1024, 1149, 881, 894, 1055, and then Senate Resolution 477.
Is that 1050 or 1055?
1050, 1050, 477, and those are all HRs, and then that SR is 477. Then SR 135. Senate Bill, under modified structure, Senate Bill 52, 89, 142. Nope, excuse me. Sorry about that. I need to move my thumb. 142 is not on the floor. I know. I have to cut my thumb off so it's covering up my writing. 200, it's on. 338, it's on. 452, it's on. 359, it's on. 381, it's on. Now, that's the first supplemental calendar. If you remember, did Senator Mullis come in? Yes. Where is he?
I'm not sure he's not back.
Okay. I was going to let him present his bill, but no. No, I'm finished. All right. Y'all have the calendar. So wait a minute before you leave. Miss Lewis, do you have all these over there with you? Okay. If you will stop by Miss Lewis and pick up your little gift here. Whoops. I know the speaker's waiting on me, but I got the microphone. Yeah, me and Calvin both. All right. We've got a little card holder for you. It's got the the House of Representatives seal on it. Right. And inside it gives you a place to put your driver's license or whatever. And then it gives you a couple of slots you can put business cards. So stop by, and I just want to say thank you. It's been a great session. This is our first full session partially out from under COVID. But thank y'all, and get your little gift from Miss Lewis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. John and I are